And welcome back to another exciting week of fasting. That's right. I am a little more than halfway through this fast for this week. As you know, we do a 72-hour fast where we are using fasting as one of those amazing tools for setting ourselves up for metabolic success to reverse our diabetes. Hey, if you're new to me, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, we're not allowing anything to inhibit us. We're not allowing any obstacles to prevent us from doing what we need to do. We're breaking free, and we are presenting our best selves, our best lives, our best health for success. We're not allowing anything from outside of us or anything from inside to prevent us from moving into that metabolic space. I'm talking to adults with type 2 diabetes who want to reverse their diabetes. That's right, I said the words. I want to reverse my diabetes. You want to reverse your diabetes? This is the right place to be. If you're new to me, go ahead and put new in the comments because we'd love to welcome you with a hand clap and some music. And let you know that we are excited that you are here. If you're new and you do have questions, or even if you're not new and you have questions, go ahead and put those in the chat with a Q, because we'd love to get to those as we move through our episode tonight. And I am talking to adults, as I said, who want to reverse their diabetes. And we've got some questions that I keep getting asked. And so we're going to spend some time talking about some of those basic questions that people have about fasting and some nuances. Okay, so we'll share some of our story here as we move through the space. If you are one of our community members, thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out. If you know somebody that should be here that's not here, go ahead and tell them, hey, come on, we're in the space. We're in the space. We're getting ready to go. We're getting ready to go. And we would love for them to join us. Whatever platform you're on, Instagram or LinkedIn or Twitch or Facebook, and of course here on YouTube. We're glad that you are here and welcome to the space. I do see some of our community members out there. And so we just want to hop over and say hello to them in just a minute. If you have not been following us, and you've not been doing the 100-day walk to consistency and health, you've got to get over there. It is an amazing process. We are on day number 23 right now. We just finished day number 23, getting ready to do day number 24. As we are moving through the space of becoming healthy, there are so many things that we can do, but one of the most important things that we can do is we can start moving. And the 100-day walk to consistency and health is a way to begin putting into practice those things that we need to do to be consistent in looking at our health and to incorporate some movement into our day. You may not be able to walk. We're walking. I'm talking. I'm having conversations with you. If you don't want to walk, that's fine. If you can't walk, that's fine. We have people who are rowing. We have people who are lifting, people who are doing yoga, people who are doing other types of activities while they're listening to the program. So that comes out 6 o'clock every morning. Like I said, we are on day number 23. Tomorrow's day number 24. So make sure you get there and you are working with us. If you've not looked at our course so far, and when I say our course, our journey that we're on, we are moving into the limitless living journey. That's where we're heading. And we've done those shows where we talked about what limitless living means, where we laid out the concept of limitless living. Last couple of weeks, we talked about metabolism, which is the basis for all that we're doing. We're trying to right the metabolism. We're trying to make the metabolism stable and reverse some of those processes there. So everything that we're going to be doing, including the fasting that we're going to talk about tonight, all of that is with the intention of getting our metabolism back into the place that it needs to be. Because if we can do that, then we set ourselves up for downstream future success and for reversing some of the things that are going on in our lives. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and let's say hello to some folks that are out there. I do see some people, so let me pull those up and we will, let's see, we started. So Gian says, hey, doctor. Hey, Gian, how are you? Thank you for coming coming through. She says, "Hi, Doctor and Wood Gang. Happy to see you again." Hey, yeah. We just saw a couple of. We actually just spent about an hour together. Those are in our membership. We just had our monthly meetup, so glad to see some of you over here. Steve is saying hello. Hey, Steve, how you doing, man? Good to see you. And Gian is saying hi, Steve. Steve, of course, hello, Gian. And Cornelia, hello to Gian and to Steve. Pamela, hello all. And I love this. Everybody's just greeting everybody. Doctor's blue shirt is so cute. Oh, thank you, Gian. Appreciate that. So the other thing is, remember, whenever we do a check-in, whenever we're trying to improve anything, we want to do a check-in. And so I'm going to do that right now, where I talk about how I'm doing in 3 different areas, how I'm doing physically, mentally, and emotionally, because these are places that sometimes people will find that they have some challenges. And so anything that you're doing, anything that you want to improve, you need to be doing check-ins. And so here I am at 51 hours into my fast for this week. We're heading to 72 hours. I was sharing with someone, I think yesterday in our post-show time that we had, that I have some cooking that I need to do, and I'm not good enough yet to be able to cook without tasting. So we may make an adjustment in our fasting schedule, but the plan is a 72 hour. If I need to do something in the kitchen, we may alter that. But right now, I am physically feeling energetic. I'm not feeling lightheaded, dizzy, sweaty, any of those things that sometimes people will talk about as they make transitions between burning carbohydrates and burning fat as the body transitions from one energy source to another. I'm not feeling lightheaded, dizzy, sweaty. I'm not feeling any palpitations. I've been doing a good job of hydrating, by the way. And I've been doing a good job of resting. So those are the 2 major things that can hinder and cause problems for us as we are fasting. So personally, I'm feeling energetic. I'm not feeling sluggish. I'm not feeling lightheaded, dizzy, sweaty, any of those things this week. Now, in previous weeks, when I didn't do a good job of resting and hydrating, we came on and we talked about how I felt during that time. But right now, doing fairly well. And mentally, I'm feeling good. I came off of some time with the family last weekend. As I mentioned, we were down in Miami, went to see a ball game. Just had a good time. Came into this week, of course, it was cold, and so the first day or so was very interesting, but the rest of the week was good. Because I'm rested, because I'm hydrated, I don't feel any of those. I don't feel sluggish, or I don't feel like I'm walking through a tunnel or fuzzy headed or those things that people will say. And then of course emotionally, feeling pretty the energy that comes from the physical carries into the emotion. Let me say it that way. Right? So excited. We have some more things that are going on this weekend with the family and with some friends and a group that we belong to. And so I'm actually looking forward to that. And so I'm kind of pumped right now. It just got off also with our monthly community meetup with our community members, and that was great. We had great conversation as we all are encouraging each other in this metabolic space. Okay, so doing well emotionally. Let me pause. Let me stop there, and then let's go ahead and let's take a look at blood sugars, because we want to look at that. And like I said, 51 hours into this week's fast, and there you'll see, you should see, there you go, coming up. This is what my blood sugar is right now, according to my Freestyle Libre. And 55, so starting right about 12 noon today, we were riding right at 55 up until now. if I look at my Dexcom, so down this morning, my Dexcom actually went out, and I did not change it until about 1 o'clock this afternoon. So you'll see that gap there. But if I look at the last 12-ish, maybe 8 hours, you'll see that the blood sugars have been 113s. I think the highest that I see there is like a 1. What was that one right there? Oh, come on. Right there. 118 was the highest. Yeah, so 120. Here's a 120 earlier this morning. And then now kind of hanging out in the very, very low 100s. Okay? So that's what's going on with my blood sugar according to the continuous glucose monitors. Off to my side, I do have this is my Keto Mojo and my Contour. So let's go ahead and take a look to see what those will tell us. Get one of these strips out for the Contour. And my Keto Mojo, I've got a glucose strip. So we're going to pop that in. And then this is a ketone strip, which I'm also going to open and just put off to the side. Because if not, sometimes when I get that drop of blood, it dries quickly. And then I have to stick myself again. So let's do that. And let's grab this one. And we'll see grab one of these Lancets. And I'm going to grab this one, which is the spring-loaded one. The other one that I have, let's see, where is that? So this is, we just twist the top off of this. And let me change over to this one. There we go. Get some more color on the screen. So we change the top off to this. And then you just use the needle that's there. The spring-loaded one, as you guys know, I wasn't really using them because they weren't getting me a good finger stick, but I'm going to try it. And basically you turn this top off, pull that off, and then when you hit this lever right here, then the spring comes out and you get a finger poke. So let's go ahead and let's see if we can get a good drop. If not, we'll, okay, so hopefully that gave me a good, okay, yeah, so we got a brisk drop that came out there. So we get that Keto Mojo going. While I'm doing this, if you think if you want to guess what my ketones are going to be, once again, 51 hours into the fast. So 80 is what the Keto Mojo says. The Contour says that my blood sugar is 88. And of course, right there, you'll see what the Freestyle Libre says right there. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and get this one out. Go ahead and get a ketone strip in, and then see I still have a good drop of blood there. And go ahead and get that started. Okay. All right, here we are. And of course, like I always do, I'm going to tease you guys because I'm not going to show you what the number is. We'll come back and we'll take a look at that here in just a minute. Okay. All right. So let's see. All right, so let's go ahead and let's talk about fasting. Let's talk about what it's doing for us and the space that we find ourselves in. Let me go ahead and I did hear some other comments come through, so let me go ahead and pop over and we'll see those. See those first. So Gion was saying about my blue shirt. Gion was saying hello to Cornelia. Cornelia says hi, Pamela. Hi, Pamela. Cornelia, happy to see you today. Yes. Hello, Pamela. Nice to visit with you today. So yeah, that Pamela and Steve saying great to see you, Pamela. Gion says, I think I see you today for the first time. Ah, okay. It was nice meeting you and your wife today. So just comments going back and forth with. It's nice to meet people in real life also. So hey, Gion and Cornelia from Pamela. Cornelia says, yes, Gian, it was great seeing you and the other ladies as well. That's right. We had a bunch of ladies in our community meetup today. So Gian says she thinks that my ketones are going to be 1.0. Steve says 0.6. Cornelia says 1.3. And Cornelia says, at Pamela and Steve, I'm so happy you are able to be local with Dr. Woode. I keep trying to convince myself I'm not jealous. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's talk about this space that we're in. So diabetes, as you know, is one of those devastating diseases, and it affects so many different things. And so here in the space, we're working to reverse diabetes, improve our metabolic health, and set ourselves up for success by addressing those things that may be holding us back. That's what the whole idea of limitless living means, right? So as the back of my mug says, we're breaking free. Right? We're breaking free from boundaries and pursuing my best self, my best health, and my best life without being held back by external or internal roadblocks, right? So that's limitless living. And as part of that, we've been using fasting as one of those amazing tools. And so I get questions that come up from a lot of people. And so what I want to do is kind of go through some of the common questions that I get when I talk with people. One of the things that has happened to me recently is that people have begun asking me what I've been doing in my weight journey and in my blood sugar journey. So that's important because they're seeing the benefits of some of the things that we have been doing. And notice I'm saying we, because we're, as a community, we're working through this process, right? When you see benefits, the people around you see those improvements, and eventually people begin to ask. I shared several months ago that I was at the grocery store, and it was warm out, so I had my t-shirt on. And as you know, I wear two monitors. I have glucose monitors, continuous glucose monitors, one on each arm, two different brands. And people were coming up to me and saying to me, hey, I see, what are those things? First of all, there are people who ask, what are those things that you have on your arm? And I then explain to them what they are, continuous glucose monitors, and we have a conversation. And that conversation leads into whatever, right? So about diabetes, about what I do, about maybe their health or someone in their families. But then the other thing that happened as a result of people being able to see those monitors on my arm is that people would come to me and say, my doctor wanted to put me on one of those, but I didn't want to do it. I see you have two. Tell me about it. So we would share that information with it. So when people see things, they want to know. Right now, one of the places that I find myself in, which I did not imagine, right? Because I've struggled with weight for a long time, as far back as I can remember, is someone saying to me, hey, what did you do to lose the weight? And then I can share with them the New Year, New You process as we were going through last year, limitless living, and share with them this space that we're in. Okay, so people, when they see, they have questions, and you will find that people are asking you questions. Your physicians, when you go to your doctor and your A1C is better, and they say to you, what are you doing? And they find out you're not on medication, then there's a conversation that you get to have. I went to my ophthalmologist just a couple of last week, actually, a little over almost a week ago. Sorry, and was talking with him about what I was doing with my diabetes, and there were some changes that he had seen in my eyes, in the back of my eyes, right, retinopathy, and so I went back and we were talking, and he says, "Hey, the eyes are much improved. What are you doing?" And so I said, well, I'm fasting. And he said, only fasting? Right? So there are those things that you will share with people, And this is a great place to be able to do that. In fact, this is what I want to show you is a picture of what they saw, what he saw. I think that's an old one. There you go. All right, so this is all right. So that's an image of my retina. Now this one is a little fuzzy and you can't really see much, but the idea was went in and there were changes that he saw that then prompted him to say, okay, what are you doing? And I'm saying, okay, I'm fasting. So the benefits are there. And so the questions that people ask are valid questions because, fasting is something that a lot of people think they can't do before they learn that they actually can do it. Okay? So let's spend some time. We're going to go through and talk about some of these questions. So the first question that I get is, what inspired you to fast? Right? That's the first thing that people will say to me. Hey, what inspired you to do this fasting thing in the first place? And for me, I'm going to be honest, the extended fast that I do were really something that I stumbled on as I was doing research, as I was trying to figure out for myself, how do I navigate my disease process? How do I navigate my personal, I'm going to say, how do I exercise my personal demons that were causing metabolic dysfunction, that were causing complications for my diabetes? Because for years, the things that I was doing, the things that were taught, the things I attempted to do myself, they worked for a time, but I never felt like I had control. And as I've shared in this space, is when I fast, I get excited when it's time for me to start fasting again. And I get excited because I finally have something where I think I can control it. Like I have some sense of control. There's a structure, there is a framework that goes along with the fasting that I'm doing and the fasting that we're doing that gives me the power to make decisions and the power to not worry during the fast or even after I'm getting to the fast about the food noise. Okay? Because for me, that's the big thing, the food noise. The food noise that comes from the emotions, the food noise that comes from the habits, the food noise that comes from the access to the things that are around me, the food noise that comes from the memory, the taste, the mood, the calm that food brought. So when I ran into, or when I stumbled into extended fasting as part of my research, I'm like, that's it right there. Because I had been doing intermittent fasting. I'd done that on and off. And it worked for a time. But remember, whatever we do, if we get angry enough, frustrated enough, bored enough, tired enough, self-doubt enough, whatever it is, if we get enough, then we can eat through that thing. And so I'd done intermittent fasting back and forth for some time. A friend of mine who does intermittent fasting, we had talked and I had done it. And it just really, at the time, didn't resonate well with me. Okay? It didn't work the way I wanted it. A couple of years ago, my whitewater rafting story where we went whitewater rafting and I fell off the raft. And the metaphor of that falling out of the raft into the water and feeling as though I was going under and clinging to the raft for dear life, even as the raft came over me and covered me where I couldn't breathe under the raft in the water, and finally had to let go. Not knowing where the rapids were going to take me, but I knew I couldn't stay where I was. And so in my metabolic space, in my metabolic disease, I knew I couldn't stay where I was. I didn't know where it was going to take me, but I knew I couldn't stay in that space. And so I was looking for, searching for, researching, eager to find something that I could latch on to that would give me the benefits that I needed. And when I started researching and looking at the benefits of fasting, I said, okay, that's it. I'm going to try it. And when I jumped into fasting, wow, it was like light bulbs went on. It was like the clouds parted and the sun started shining. And I said, this right here this is it. And so we started working with patients, working with myself, and seeing those benefits, talking to my doctors, and just looking around at people who were doing fasting, people who were doing the research, people who were teaching it, and finding out what were the best practices that they have, and saying, okay, new year, new you. So the new year, new you was birthed from that process. So what inspired me to fast? What inspired me was the difficulty I myself was having with fasting, and realizing, okay, I needed to do something different, and I needed to begin working in a different space as I talked to patients and dealt with what they were struggling with and what they were frustrated about. And it just seemed like a logical thing to do. And once we started working on it, then it was like, okay, this is working. This is beneficial. And so patients were getting benefits. We were getting benefits, and just so excited that it worked the way we anticipated that it should work as we move through this space. Okay, so that's the first question. Why did you start fasting? And that's kind of how fasting happened for me. The next one is, how do you decide which protocol to use? And this question is very important, because there's so much that's out there about fasting, right? So there's intermittent fasting, as I just said, we're doing a 16-8. There is 1 meal a day. There's alternate day fasting. There is 24-hour, 36-hour, 48 hours, 72 hours. And deciding which fasting method or which fasting protocol you're going to do has everything to do with what your goals are and what the benefits are that you're looking for. Also, it has to do with how quickly you need to get those benefits. So if and there are some programs that are out there actually associated with hospitals and other medical facilities. And if your surgeon says to you, we've got to do whatever this surgery is, it's not something that we can delay. But right now, metabolically, you are not, you probably won't make it through the surgery, or the chances are very bad for us doing the surgery, or whatever words they're using that indicate that we got to do the surgery, but you are at risk, or we have to do that procedure, or there's something else that we have to do, but your metabolic state makes it difficult for us to do that, then we've got to do that quickly, or as rapidly as possible. I should say quickly, right? As judiciously as possible. And so we may need to do, for instance, some of those programs, we'll do 30-day fasts, because we've got to get you to be able to have that surgery, because both are bad. Right? If we don't do the surgery, we run into trouble. But if we take you right now to do the surgery, we run into trouble. And so we've got to figure out, okay, how do we get you from where you are to a better metabolic space so that we can do surgery? And so then the decision is, okay, we've got to do a longer fast. Okay, so that is in that situation. Now, the things that are in our personal lives as we move day to day are on the spectrum. into that, right? So we may not need to do a 30-day fast, but maybe a 16 and 8 fast is not getting us quickly to the place we need to be. For me, when I started fasting, I looked to see, okay, metabolically, where am I? And metabolically, there was lots of dysfunction. High cholesterol, low testosterone, A1C was high, neuropathy. As I mentioned, I was having, I had retinopathy. So there was lots of metabolic dysfunction, metabolic complications that were going on in my life personally. And so, and of course, obesity. So I was, at the time when we started this trek, I was 265 pounds. You've heard my story about being up at 285. Actually, it was 287, but being up that high. But when we started this process, right, we had been doing intermittent fasting on and off, and we'd lost some weight and come back, lost some weight and come back. But there was not anything that was sustained over a course of time. And so I said, okay, I'm working my way up to be able to fast for 72 hours because I started looking at the benefits that we get at 12 hours and 16 hours and 18 hours and 24 hours. And so that was the first thing, right? So I didn't go directly to 72 hours, at least not right away, but 24 hours. But then the next time I did it, we did 72 because I knew I had to be there. We had lots of metabolic dysfunction and we had to change. So the fasting protocol that you will find, that you will choose, depends on where you need to be. So we did a show where we talked about the different lengths of fasting, the protocols, and what disease processes they have been studied or shown to improve. So make sure you get out there and watch that. That is on the channel. It's under How to Fast Successfully is the playlist that's out there. Maybe one of our community members can grab that and drop that in the chat. So how to fast successfully. So that is in there. Okay. So how to decide what protocol? It depends on what you're looking for metabolically. All right. Next question is, what do you wish you had known before starting fasting? Oh, wow. Right. And so this is usually people who are interested in fasting, or they're in fasting and they may be having some challenges, or they're even successful, but they may have plateaued, or any of those situations. So what do I wish I had known before I started fasting? I wish I had known how simple fasting can be. I'll pause. I wish I had known how simple fasting can be. The extended fast, right? Because had I known that, I may have started this a long time ago and may have circumvented some of the metabolic dysfunction as I just described. So I wish I had known that. I also wish that as a medical community, we had embraced fasting earlier, and that I had been trained or directed to fasting earlier. Because it is just now that this idea of reversing diabetes has become a big push, right? It's just a few years ago where the American Diabetic Association put out criteria for what they term remission, or another euphemism for reversing. And as mainstream medicine and particularly as the endocrinologists in the medical space, the guys who are doing metabolic disease, for years we did not teach that. We did not. I was going to say we didn't believe it, but if we believed it, we didn't actuate it. We did not tell people about it. We did not teach it. We did not promote it. We did not find ways to do it. And now we're seeing, and you've heard me say, I've seen so many people over time that have had the benefit of working to reverse their diabetes and have done that. And so those types of things I wish I knew before fasting. before I started fasting. And not that, I would have done the fasting differently, but I would have done fasting earlier. I would have taught it earlier. I would have incorporated it into the processes that I did earlier. I would have had personal benefit earlier. So I'm excited now when I see people who are now early in their stage, or people who are finding this, or people who are hearing what we're saying, and people who are now saying, okay, I want to be part of that. I want to be involved with improving my metabolic health. I want to be involved in setting myself up for benefits downstream. I want to prevent the disease processes from taking over my life and causing those side effects and those symptoms and those complications. That's why you hear me say when we start the show, hey, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here in the channel, I empower you, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life. Avoid complications and go to the next level. That complications that's in there, right? That comes from personal experience. Take charge of your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. Limitless living. Okay, so that's what I wish I had known. What is your go-to meal for breaking a fast? This is a good one, and my go-to meal for breaking a fast is a salad and broth. That's my go-to meal. The broth I go to break the fast because it gives me some hydration, and it helps me to be mindful of the things I'm about to eat. Okay, so that's what the broth does. The salad, I eat the salad because if I don't eat the salad, I'm going to end up eating something that is probably more processed than I want. I'm going to end up eating something that has more carbs, more higher carb content in terms of glycemic index. And so the broth and the salad give me a good place to start. Now, one of the things that we talked about in our community meetup earlier this evening was the breaking of the fast and the things that we do, that we eat, that can push us down the road of undoing some of the benefits that we had. And that's the whole idea behind starting slow and increase as you go, right? So don't sit down at the first meal after the fast and eat a 7-course meal. Because if we're not careful, remember that preparation for fasting? If we're not careful, because we are super anticipating, because we have blown up what it's going to be like when we finally get to eat after those 24 hours or those 36 hours, and for sure those 72 hours, because we've made it such a big deal that we want to sit down and we want to go at it. And so I deliberately decide what I'm going to eat. And the other reason I do broth and salad is I don't have to make a decision. It's there. That's what I'm having. Right? In fact, on Thursdays at the office, when I go to the cafeteria, I get a salad and bring it home specifically because, okay, this is what I'm going to eat when I break my fast. Okay, so that's my go-to for breaking the fast. Now, you've seen me eat things like nuts and cheese. One of the things that I haven't done recently is do eggs. I used to do, I think, our very first few shows that we did last year, I was doing beans, right? Pinto beans and black eyed peas, and they're good. Now, this past, when I broke the fast, because this is my second fast for this week, by the way. So I did a fast that I broke on Monday. So Sunday, Monday, so I fasted for 40 hours. And I broke that fast. And I broke that fast with black eyed peas. And my blood sugars went to I think it went up to 200. Well, not quite 200, maybe 180, close to 200. Okay, and so I've decided that I can't break the fast with that. I've got to break it with something that's salad seems to work. Salad seems to work. My only issue with the salad, and I'm just telling myself, is I love cheese, and when I eat the salad, I have to be careful not to put a lot of cheese on it because cheese puts on weight, right? Yeah. So anyway, so there's always this balance that you pay, but that's my kind of go-to. That's my go-to meal for breaking the fast. And so another question is, what has been the most challenging thing? What has been the most challenging part of fasting? And probably the most challenging part of fasting has been the social aspect of fasting. What do I mean by that? What I mean is that usually when I'm fasting, I don't have a physical need or hunger that's being driven. So I get into the fast, and after the first, 6 hours, I'm good. Particularly if I'm hydrating, right? So another plug for hydration. If I'm hydrating, then the hunger is not there. The food noise is actually not there even. But when my team breaks for lunch, or I go downstairs to the cafeteria to get something to drink, and I see everyone else eating, or I come home and my wife is Taco Tuesday and she's making tacos, and I come home and I smell it, or sometimes even when I sit down at the table and I'm watching them eat. That's been the most challenging part for me. The reason I do my fast on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday is because Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, right, those 3 days, those 2.5 days, most of our social functions happens over the weekend. And it would, I was going to say I can't. It would be difficult for me to fast during that time because we're built for community. And because we're built for community, if our brains has to make a decision between sticking to the fast and being out of community, or breaking the fast and eating and being in community, we're going to break the fast. Or it's going to create environments or create thought processes and create things in our minds that will push us to break the fast because we want to be connected. Okay, so that has been the most challenging part of the fasting. This is not a question, but I'm gonna throw this out as a question, and so it's not a question; it is a comment. One of the most powerful parts of my plan that has helped me to be successful in my fasting has been community. I was sharing with, I think, our last community meetup that I was on the way home. I went to the store and I got some chocolate. And I was just about to eat the chocolate. And do you know why I didn't eat the chocolate? What do you think? What do you think? Why didn't I eat the chocolate? I didn't eat the chocolate because I was getting ready to go on air. I was getting ready to come here and talk to you. And I knew I had to show you my blood sugar. Yep. That's the reason I didn't eat the chocolate. Hey, So community is huge. Community will push us, will pull us, will carry us, will allow us to lean on them. Community is amazing. And so being in community is a great place to be in. And so if I had to say of the things that has help in the fast that continue to encourage me is, I would have to put very near to the top, if not number one, would be community. Number two would be the push and the pull and the benefits that I see that then give me the gumption, give me the power to continue. So when I get on the scale and I see that that scale is going down, or get on the scale and see that that scale has stayed stable when I've been away in Miami, and I come back and it was like, okay, man, I actually went down a pound. I was on vacation. I was eating, and right? So that was number two. And then number three is kind of I don't want to say nebulous one, but number three is really my desire for the people that I am involved with, my patients, this community, other people who may not even be patients or clients of mine, for them to understand that it is possible. Honestly, that's one of the big ones for me. Because for so long, I felt lost. I felt as though the community, the medical community, had failed me, and I was a part of the community. And in our community meetup tonight, we talked about the words that we use when we talk about our journey. And the words sometimes seem defeated. Those are the words that we use. And I know there are a lot of people that are around me who feel like I felt, who struggle like I struggled, who are wondering, what do I do? How do I do this? And frankly, one of the reasons I am able to continue is because I want them to see that it is possible. Because if you knew me, if you saw me before, you're like, oh my goodness, look at the difference, right? And so then I could say, hey, this is what I'm doing. And this is not I'm going to say it, but it's not in a boastful way, but just so that people can understand that there is hope. Because in so many places in our lives, we feel like we're defeated. We feel like there's not a hope. So those are the benefits. Those are the things. Those are reasons why I do what I do and why I fast. Okay? So that's the ultimate question. Not why am I fasting? Those are the reasons. Because of my history, because of the community that I'm in, because of the benefits I see, and because of the example that I want to set. The example of, yes, it can be done. And yes, that you've struggled and you've had difficulty, but here's a new space. Here's a new place where you can go and you can have success. Okay? Awesome. All right, so let's see. I think we have. So that's the idea. That's the idea. And let's see who is out there. We've got some folks. Let me go back and grab some of these comments. So Cornelia says. So Gion says, same here, Cornelia. I think we're talking about seeing each other earlier, seeing each other, meeting each other today. Pamela says, smiles. Cornelia is smiling, and Gion is, and this comes up because it can't translate, but it's an emoji. Jennifer says, howdy y'all. Hey Jennifer, how are you doing? Gion saying hi. Pamela saying hello. Cornelia saying hello. So Gion says, I'm waiting to see your blood sugar indeed. Oh, okay. I thought, did I not show that? Let's pop up. Let's go back over there and see what my blood sugar are. Let me get rid of this, get rid of that eye picture, my retina picture. And let's go here. So right now, this is what my blood sugar is. 57 is what my blood sugar is on the keto, the Freestyle Libre, and on the Dexcom right now it's 106. Okay, Dexcom 106. And then Cornelia says, Doctor, your openness about your vulnerability and the success of this community helps me through my first 72-hour fast. Cornelia! There you go. There you go. That's what I'm saying. Congratulations. Congratulations. That's it right there, right? That is what I'm talking about. When the community is able to celebrate, and when we see things. So here's an idea. Here's an idea. Okay, and I think it's kind of like you find something. If someone you don't know tells you about something, then you're like, oh yeah, maybe I'll look at that and I'll try it later, right? But if somebody you know says to you, hey, look at this thing that I'm doing, let's do it together, then you're more likely to do it. And so, Cornelia, I'm excited that the community has been able to help you, and that I've been part of your journey, so that you can get to the place where you're able to make those types of decisions and make those types of changes in what you do, right? So that's just amazing. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. So Jennifer saying, congratulations, Cornelia. Cornelia saying, thank you. Great, Cornelia. Wow, Cornelia. Look at that. See, look at that. Gion says, great. Awesome. I love it. Love it. Love the community. And the things that we're doing here. All right, so let's go ahead and let's take a look at my ketones. So you'll see on the screen, okay, so that is my glucose according to the Dexcom G7. Let me pull up the Keto Mojo. And so that's the Keto Mojo app that you'll see there. Here is my, because you guys are not seeing that. Let me go back. Oh, you guys didn't see all those comments? All right, so here we are. So we're at the Keto Mojo. And here is my glucose meter that gives me both blood sugar and ketones. And let me hop over to this one really quickly, because I want to go ahead and turn that on. And then I can sync over here in the app. And we did have some guesses. Let me go back to those comments, and I want to go up and I want to bring those up quickly. So we said Gion says 1.0, Steve says 0.6, Cornelia says 1.3. I think those were the guesses that we had, if I remember correctly. And so let's go back over here and let's see who is the winner. So, drum roll, please. Drum roll, da 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 da. And look at that. So glucose was 80 and ketones were 1.3. Let's see who said. Let me come back down here. So Cornelia. Cornelia says 1.3. Awesome, Cornelia. Look at you. You were right on the money. All right, so blood sugar of 80 and ketones of 1.3. Remember, ketones, when we talk about ketones that are less than 0.5 are considered normal. 0.5 to 1.5 considered nutritional ketosis, and then above 1.5 is considered therapeutic ketosis, right? So those are the spaces, those are the different categories. If we look at the graph, and let me go back. So I'm going to look at this one first, because this one actually is a good example of what I'm going to describe. So ketones and insulin can't be in the same space. It's like matter and antimatter. In fact, when we see patients at the hospital who are in DKA, they're in the ER, they're on the floors, they're in the ICU, one of the very first things that we do is we give them fluids, and then we give them insulin. Okay, we give them fluids, we give them insulin. And the blood sugar will come down. And there are times when the blood sugar has normalized, but the ketones are still high. We said it again. So the blood sugars have normalized, or they've even actually gone low, but the ketones are very high. And we continue giving the patient insulin because the insulin drives the ketones away. Now, we have to actually give them sugar to bring their blood sugars up so we can keep giving them insulin so that we can get rid of the ketones. And so sometimes what I have to explain to the folks that are around us, folks on our teams, is that the blood sugar, we want the blood sugar to go down, but we're concerned about those ketones, right? And in order to get rid of the ketones, we give insulin. So insulin and ketones can't be in the same space. So whenever you see sugar come out, insulin has to come out as a result of that. And once the insulin comes out, the ketones go away. So on the graph that you're looking at, the tan line, that's the blood sugar, and the turquoise dotted line, those are ketones. So as at the very beginning, you'll see that the blood sugar was going down, the tan line. And when the blood sugar was going down, that means the insulin was going down. Because insulin was going down, ketones started going up. And at some point during that process, so that's probably a Friday when I broke the fast, I started eating. And as I started eating, the ketones started going up. So notice that. So it's not ketones, it's the blood sugar. So blood sugar went from 87 up to 122. And because the blood sugar went up, my insulin level had to go up. My body had to produce insulin. When it produced the insulin, look at what happened to ketones. The ketones were at 1.6. And blood sugar went up, insulin came out, and look, the ketones dropped to 0.1. And then as I started fasting again, look at the blood sugars are going down, 108 down to 75, and the ketones started going up. So from 0.1 up to 0.6, and then up to 1.8. So that was last week. Let's come into this week. And so because I was eating, right, ketones went from, well, let's go there. So where are we? So blood sugar is 87. Ketones are down. For some reason, let me do it this way. There we go. Get a little clearer vision of that. Okay. So ketones are down here. Blood sugar is up here. And I was fasting, so ketones started going up. And then as I started eating, look at the tan line. So the tan line started going up. So it went from 87 up to 119 and then started coming down again. And in that same period, my ketones started up, actually went down a little bit, and then the ketones went from 0.2 up to what it is now, 1.3, right? So that's kind of the process of ketones and glucose, and this is driven by insulin. All right, awesome. So that's where we are in terms of ketones and in terms of blood sugar. So Cornelia got it. So cool. All right, so let's go back. Some comments. So Cornelia said, "Thank you all. You all helped me mentally be stronger. I could envision you all saying, 'Hang in there.'" That's right. That's right. Cornelia says, "Wow." Wow, Cornelia. And then, of course, thanks, Gion. Awesome. All right. Well, so everyone that's out there, everybody who's listening to me, remember, everything that we do comes on the basis, the platform of education, empowerment, and encouragement. So everything that we do, right, we begin with education. The education is with the idea of changing our mindset, giving us a different way of looking, a different perspective on the things that we're doing, a different way of or thinking of, reframing the things that we see. We educate, we empower with the tools that we're learning. The fasting is a tool. How to look at blood sugars is a tool. How to monitor is a tool. We did a show where we talked about GLP-1 receptor agonists, a tool. So we empower because the tools are what allow us to implement the things that we learn during education. And those two by themselves are great. Education is great because we're changing the mindset. The tools are great because we're implementing the things that we learn. But the crux and the thing that pushes us, that ties it all together, is community. And the community, as you've seen, is very instrumental in helping us to go beyond what we thought, to go beyond the limitations that we thought, to extend ourselves, to stretch, to break free. Limitless living, to break free from what we thought was an obstacle, and to present our best self, our best health, and our best plans for our life. We educate, we empower, and we encourage. And the whole idea behind limitless living is that we are not allowing anything outside of us or anything in us to prevent us from moving where we need to be metabolically happy and metabolically healthy. We'll be back tomorrow as we do our check-in. Like I said, we're going to make some changes, maybe, depending on what goes on with the cooking. But we'll be doing our check-in tomorrow. Saturday night at 9 p.m. We'll be here with video from the vault. Sunday morning, This Week in Review, at 6 a.m. Central Time. And then on Monday, we'll be back with Dwain Woode, MD, live right here in this space. Thank you for being with me. This is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Woode with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, we are breaking free from those obstacles. We're breaking free from those boundaries. We are not allowing anything to prevent us from being where we need to be. We are presenting our best self, our best health, and our best plans for our life. Good night, everybody. We'll see you at the next episode.